So my brother and I, Jack, started Visa franchise back in 2015. And we started it because we both had experience in finance and franchising, and we discovered the E2 Visa program. And we saw that franchising was a good bridge and good first step for especially new entrepreneurs setting up businesses in the United States, or if they didn't have much experience already in the United States, kind of like a soft landing in the United States. So we've had some pretty good success. We've had 450 plus clients from all over the world. We like franchising, but it's not the best fit for everyone. If you already have great experience in the US, you have a startup idea, you have the relationships, go for it. Do that startup. If you are already living here in the US on another visa category, you have 1 to 2 years to explore existing businesses to purchase, can be a great option. It just takes some time. Franchising is good because we have the data. It's a federally regulated industry where every franchise has to register the franchise disclosure document. Also, some states have even further restrictions, like in California, and they have to disclose any litigation, prior bankruptcies, and the principals on the company, unit openings, unit closures. So we mine a lot of that data, so it makes it a lot easier. And Bernie mentioned the franchise attorney that we work together with. You definitely still need a franchise attorney, corporate attorney to review those documents. We're looking at more of a business risk standpoint to see if that business is going to be around and if it has a potential for you to thrive in the business. 2.5 years ago, we saw we were sitting on a ton of data, and we're like, let's share this with the world. So we created Vetted Biz, which has 2,000 plus franchises opportunities, 3,900 businesses for sale. And we do videos, podcasts, long form article reviews on a lot of the franchises. So with that, we've compiled different lists, top E2 Visa franchises, top 50 franchises that are not eligible for the E2 Visa. So just to be super direct, McDonald's is not waiting for you. Dunkin' Donuts is not waiting for you. There's a lot of people with capital in the US. You can get a small business administration loan at 5%. Capital's not the issue in the United States right now. It's operators. So these brands, they really want an American that already has restaurant experience and has been doing it for 5, 10 years already. So you can kind of forget these brands. UPS store, every week someone's asking, I want to invest in a UPS store. You can't do it. These brands do not accept E2 Visa investors. And you might recognize a lot of these big brands. That doesn't mean there aren't good franchises that with the right investor, you have a great chance to succeed and get the E2 Visa. However, they're not necessarily going to be the huge brands, and a lot of the brands, just like Domino's or Chick-fil-A, they're largely recruiting internally, where you already were a manager of the brand, or Dutch Bros, which is expanding, recently IPO'd. They only recruit internally. So you already have to be working at the business to open up a franchise. We list every publicly available franchise here. We're happy to review any on behalf of our clients at Visa Franchise, whether they're seeking the E2 Visa or the EB5 Visa. And we go through 50 plus metrics, and first page, every franchise has a review. How many are opening? How many are closing? So Subway closed 7,000 locations in the last 5 years. So forget about E2 Visa eligibility. This is just not a good business to be joining. Why would you want to be joining a business that opens 300 plus locations while they're closing nearly 2,000 locations? There's other franchisors that have a lot of corporate locations and aren't really focused much on the franchisee, like Panda Express. They have less than 5% of their locations are franchised. Do you want to be operating in a business that the company is more focused on their locations? These are all factors to consider. That being said, I mean, you can sort through, there's a lot of businesses that are under 100K, like 600 franchises under 100,000. You're gonna have to work with Joey and Bernie to see if like a business for 80K is gonna be eligible for the E2 Visa. It's probably going to depend on the industry, but most of the time our clients are investing like 150K in a franchise, but we've had approvals at less. But there's a lot of options. So you can just reach out directly to these franchisors. However, if you want us to save you time and get the information faster and also arrange the calls with the franchisees, you can engage us and we'll help you every step of the way. A couple of businesses, especially in the healthcare sector, to consider for the E2 and EB5. One would be SarahCare, where they have a program where if you're not able to be here physically, and you maybe have other business interests, they can manage the day-to-day affairs of the business. And then you would be approving major expenses, driving strategy of the business, meeting monthly with the franchisor. So you're involved in the business, but there's a lot of functions that the franchisor through the management entities handling, and you're more of an executive capacity where you're not selling solutions, you're not trying to get more clients day to day, but you're making sure that the business goes well. There's no unnecessary expenses, and you're actively reviewing the financials and strategy of the business to make sure that the business is going to be there for 5+ years, and then working with Bernie and Joey to make sure you're doing what's necessary to meet the USCIS eligibility for whatever visa category you're looking at. I like longevity in businesses. SarahCare has been around 24 years. I interviewed a franchisee of SarahCare, ex-franchisee. He sold at a pretty nice multiple, and that was like 10 years ago. So it's a stable, they don't have thousands of locations, but they're opening 1 or 2. They're closing minimal locations. They're looking to really scale up now. But I like that longevity, and I like who you really have to see what managers behind the concept. So another healthcare brand, Success on the Spectrum, which they're really new. I mean, 2015, so 7 years when you compare that to SarahCare, but it's a new space helping kids with autism, generally 2 to 5 years old, and it's behind applied behavioral therapy, where this is a new science for helping kids with autism that there's no other franchises doing this. There's a few that focus helping children on the spectrum, but it's more of like a gym. It's more activities. It's not really scientific. It's not backed by science. Where Success on the Spectrum is running a center anywhere from 20 to 30 therapists, as each therapist has a student. So it's good for the EB5, good for the E2, and it's a business that has sizable top line revenue, where many other corporate locations are doing well over $1 million in sales at a healthy profit margin, because a big part is many of the state governments are paying for the students' education. And that could be 5K, 6K, 7K a month. It's going to depend a lot on the state. Another one that's in the senior care space is One Heart Caregiver Services. They've had multiple E2 visas approved. We can see different metrics here. And it's also to see any red flags, like, is the royalty on par with the franchise median? Is it on par with the industry? Is the franchise fee too high? Is it kind of on par with how the other home care businesses are? The failure rate for this one, the failure rate's high, but talking to the franchisor, they made sense. They awarded license to people that weren't working 40, 50 hours a week and were doing it in a more of a part-time capacity, and it just wasn't a good fit. So they redesigned their system, and they're more stringent on the type of franchisees they bring in. And the financials have done quite well as a result of that, and kind of cleaning house a bit with the franchisees that are currently operating. And their sales have been doing really well for their corporate location, as well as the franchisees that are largely operating in California. IPG is a business we've had 15+ clients invest in for the E2 visa. We've had a phenomenal relationship with this family-owned franchisor. Again, longevity. I like that they've been around a while, 21 years. They're not going anywhere. We've seen a lot of the businesses where They just started franchising a year ago. They have one corporate location. That's a pretty big red flag. We want to see at least 5 locations that are doing well if we're going to seriously consider the opportunity for our clients. So many options. Success on the spectrum, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves and work hard. One heart caregiver as well, 30, 40, 50 hours a week. Sarah Care could be significantly less hours because you can work directly with the franchisor where they can really be much more involved in the day-to-day operations. For EB5, it's tough. There's a few options like Sarah Care at the 500K level, but generally you're looking to invest 600 to 700K. As labor costs have gone up, it's expensive to keep 10, 11, 12 people on payroll. So Vetted Biz, we have the data there. You're seeing my view. I'm logged in. $39 a month. There's a free trial. You can get access to all this data. We're also creating more easier contact lists so you can see the contact information for every franchisee in every franchise system. So it's hundreds of thousands of franchisees. So as part of the due diligence, you got to talk to people that have already invested and are already running the business and see if they like it, would they have done it again. And for our Visa franchise clients, we prepare you with those tools. Vetted Biz is more autonomous where you're doing the reach out, you're doing the investigation. I hope you still engage a franchise attorney, but it would be on you. Where for Visa franchise, our clients engage us because they want more handholding throughout the process. They want us to work very closely with their immigration attorney, the franchise attorney, and we do a more thorough analysis, not just an initial scrape. We're talking to a lot more franchisees in that system. We go into more details on the income statement and balance sheet of the franchisors. There was one franchisor we saw that the owner had his Porsche Cayenne on the balance sheet, and it's just, you see some ridiculous things, and it's not for the majority of franchises, but there are some that are really poorly managed and if not fraudulent. And you can, if you know where you're looking, you can usually spot them. So that's what we do at Visa franchise. And usually it's depending on visa processing time, 6 months, 9 months to get the E2 visa from the time we start working with our clients. And we have a very tight process. And Bernie mentioned the due diligence. So we've evaluated these franchises before we present them to you, but you got to do your own due diligence, and you're the one that's going to have to live with this decision on what franchise you invest in. And that does include having a franchise attorney really review the legal terms. And if for some reason you wanted to sell the business or move back home, what would be the process with that? A big part too, talk to some franchisees that have left the system. So we have that information and we can help arrange those calls. Why did that person sell the franchise? Why did they close the franchise? All part of the due diligence process, which can take 2 to 8 weeks to complete. And then an investment decision is made. So a few different ways to work together. You can buy a business, start a business. We really help with buying a franchise where we're more actively involved, but we have the information and data on businesses for sale, principally in the state of Florida, as they have a MLS for businesses for sale. And there's very few states that do that. Like in California, you'd have to just call 20 business brokers to see what they have, and it's a harder process with less information.
Patrick, this is incredibly helpful. Thank you so much. I'm just watching the time. I tried to answer most of the questions, but unfortunately, I can't get through to all of them. If you want to email me, you can email at VisaLaw, VISALAW, VisaLaw at my last name, which is Wolf, like the animal, and S for Sam in the middle, and a DORF at the end. So VisaLaw at Wolfsdorf, or Bernard at Wolfsdorf, Joey Barnett at Wolfsdorf. Patrick, my friend Alan Kay is texting me how to get hold of Patrick. Patrick, what's the best way to get hold of you guys?
The best info at visafranchise.com. That would be the easiest. And one of my assistants can pass along information, and we can always schedule a call consultation.
You're becoming a big operation now, Patrick. I remember it was just you and your two brothers.
Exactly.
Now, there's
Going
a
to
whole
those events,
big.
stopping by our booths, which is us too. Now we're
Yeah.
34.
Wow,
34
cool,
people. So
cool.
it's fun.
Yeah, no, you're growing. And look, I assume that's because you're doing something good. I do repeat, I don't endorse any investment. I have said it 45 times, so I'll do it 46. Due diligence, due diligence. Don't want to hear 5 or 6 years down the road how you lost all your money. So do your due diligence now. Business is risk. Of course, you know, when we talk about the American dream, you may have a nice house with a white picket fence, or you may lose your money. So be careful, do your due diligence. The good news is investment immigration is absolutely one of the best and easiest ways to immigrate. And you can do your own thing. Some people like to work for others. Some people like to manage their own business. There's numerous different models. If for those of you I did not get to answer your question, you can email me. visalaw@Wolfsdorf comes directly to me. I'd be happy to answer it. We will be sending out this entire recording to everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Patrick, we got to do this again sometime. It seems really popular. So wishing you all a tremendous day and week. And there we go. For more information, you can always just Google Visa Franchise.
Yeah, you can WhatsApp us. WhatsApp works well, 305-493-2080, and then info@Visa Franchise, and we get back to you within 24 hours.
I found these guys pretty reliable, pretty straightforward, but again, do due diligence on your due diligence provider. So on that cheery note, thank you, everybody. Until next time, please excuse me for my bad jokes. That's what keeps me going. And until next time, thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Have a
Bernie,
wonderful
Joey.
day. Thank you again, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, everyone.